After releasing my other video and it ending on a bittersweet moment, I wanted to make a different video, a token of my appreciation. To once and for all let it be known what makes the very foundation of my life so unbreakable. While I am very strong for surviving all that I did, I cannot take all of the credit. I have some amazing friends in my life, though most of them are online and few even in foreign countries. But that still does not change the fact that they mean a lot to me. I have one good friend of mine who is from Egypt and is a traveling doctor. I mean, how cool is that? He gets around the world too. He was recently in Russia. He takes and uploads lots of pics on Facebook, and it's not what you'd think he would be if he was a doctor. Forget ever wanting to meet a celebrity. I want to meet a cause. If you recall the man in the sunglasses from my album cover, Infinite Drive, standing next to a car, this is my friend. During this time, I wanted to make a driving themed album, and instead of using cars or artwork from Google and possibly risking a copyright infringement, I asked him if he would let me use some of his pics. He was honored. He is also a fan of my music as well. Very supportive, wise, and pushes me ever onward with words of absolute awesome encouragement. He has the same awesome trait all of these people have, that I will name off. They truly care. My other foreign friend is Nasrin, who I met sometime this year in an RPG Maker community group. I had a falling out with the group's admin at the time, but after the falling out, Nasrin and I continued to talk. He looks up to the legend of Relic in a sense of admiration, which is wonderful. He is also a game designer who I love to inspire and give him ideas for his games. When we aren't talking about video games, he is always being a friend and a person who cares, and asks me how my life is going. He has a love for Grand Theft Auto 2 and a great sense of humor. I have also reason to believe Nasrin and I quickly became friends even before we realized it. The next person on my list, from the same RPG Maker community group, comes from an individual by the name of Carl Marajay. Carl has got to be the most calm-headed, peaceful of soul, mind, and body person I have ever met. He has a zen-based atmosphere about him constantly, and only wishes the best for people around him. When I think of Carl, I think of the most dedicated monk, whose thoughts project towards the stars, causing them to shine brighter for all of us to aspire to be. A hilarious side note of Carl, after me describing him, you wouldn't think he would do a complete 180 and create a creative but hilariously short game called Monsterporn, where you play a monster whom is bored and his monster brother discovers his porn stash. Completely unlike him to do this, but still welcomed and laughed at nonetheless. Last but not least is my best friend Dragon. I met Dragon back in Job Corps, before we officially became roommates back in dorm number 169. He saw my GameCube in my closet and noticed the Twilight Princess design on it, and was curious. I told him I was a major fan of The Legend of Zelda, and this is where our friendship first began. But our friendship wasn't just strengthened over video games. I was bullied in Job Corps, and one time I had decided to run off campus. I had the intention of running away and killing myself. I remember looking over my shoulder and seeing Dragon chase after me, tears in his eyes as he caught up. What were you thinking of doing? I replied with, I don't know. He hugged me and said softly, I thought I was going to lose you. Sometime before this, we had a meeting where new students would introduce themselves. I had stage fright back then, and for good reason. I'm an antisocial individual because I've been judged and picked on my whole life. But this was a requirement for some stupid reason for the Job Corps I went to. I took the microphone and sat in front of about 300 people. Hi, my name is Michael Lancaster. I'm from Pryor, I go by DJ. I love making music, I have turntables, I love video games, and I love dragons. To which everybody else before me got a roar, cheer, applauses, and other signs of welcoming. I got nothing except a few snickers. And I just hung my head in embarrassment and went to go seclude myself under the bleachers. Dragon came up to me and outstretched his hand. Don't worry about what others think of you, man. You are my friend, and that's all that should matter. Before I met Dragon, my friends were all online, my entire life. The friends I had made before were just thieves, talked shit on my mom, while also trashing my house. He said, as I smiled a little and took his hand, lifting myself up, wiping away the tears. When I had my own apartment, I had let Dragon stay with me for a while he was trying to find his own place. He eventually moved to Kentucky, where an online friend of mine lived. I had introduced her to my best friend, hoping that he could find something in her because I hated seeing my brother depressed, that he was lonely and single. Sadly, it was not to last. Disagreements and a lack of understanding was to be the doom of it, though I defend my best friend through it all because he is very centered and wise. Aside from our love of The Legend of Zelda, we also have a lot of other things in common, and Dragon is a major fan and supporter of my music. I could drag this video on for a long time, single-handedly pointing out each and every person who helps push me forward in some way or another. But I just wanted to take the time and shine the spotlight on 3 individuals whom are each unique in my life of their own history as to why they are so revered. I have plenty of friends and supporters, people who encourage me, love my music, and what I do. But these 3 people deserve the most credit. Even though I have had more than a rough life, rough years, rough moments, there are people I know who are more family to me than my own blood, who treat me with respect, kindness, and understands me. Not just as Sidnus, the wizard of our time, but as a person simply trying to exist and never letting the fires of aspiration die out.